Hey everybody, welcome back to Two Legs. This is episode 212 of a Paul McCartney podcast. I'm one of your two co-hosts, Tom Hunyadi. You may know me from my other show, Talk More Talk. And I am joined by my partner in crime, my backwards traveler. He is Andy Nichols. Andy, my friend, how we
Yeah.
doing?
All right, Tom, we're here.
We're here, and it's a very special day, and we've got a very special guest, and we're recording this on someone's birthday, right? We got Paul McCartney just turning 81 today. Unbelievable! The man looks like he's 41 still. Going around touring, doing events. It's amazing what this man is still doing, and to help us celebrate the 81st birthday of Paul McCartney, we've got the man who's an amazing writer. He's been doing so many things lately. He's contributed to the singles box set, and we also got this one right here, right? Music is Ideas. He is the author. He is Luca Perasi. Luca, my friend, welcome back to the show.
Thanks again for this special appearance altogether in this special day. So let's have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's have fun. Absolutely, absolutely. Today on the show, we're going to be talking about Paul's first single. We're going to be talking about Another Day. Here we go. This is the Italian picture sleeve for the 45. Luke, I believe you got the French version
I got a
there.
French one. Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. And then Andy's over there. He's got the Sweden from the box sets right there. So but before we do, let's just rattle about the book a little bit more. How's it doing? I mean, are you happy with the performance of the book? Is it selling well? And we're hoping that
Yes,
this has been very successful for you.
I'm happy. Yes, I'm happy. Sales are healthy, and
Yeah.
so it's very nice. I am inviting people to write their reviews. Because I've been a bit slow on reviews,
Mm.
but I think it's a kind of book that needs time to be read
Mm.
from
Right.
cover to cover. So I mean, they are enjoying it. That's the important thing. We have already talked about it, but it's well, it's the only book out there that goes from the
Right.
lovely Linda until, well, in this
Yeah.
volume until 1989. And so
Hmm.
that's interesting since we are talking about artificial intelligence
Mm.
a lot these days.
Right.
I have entitled a piece on McCartney's birthday in Italy today that I wrote 81 years of natural intelligence.
Dungeons.
Paul McCartney.
I love it.
uh,
That's great. That's
which
great.
is, and I have put together a selection of facts a personal selection
Mhm.
since the Beatles until these days, and you can really see the genius of this man. Now, not only in musical terms, but also leading the business and stuff. Is capable to do so many things at top
Mhm.
level. It's not common, so that's the best answer to the AI these days.
Right.
Mm.
So at some point, AI will rely on my article probably. So
Right.
the
Probably.
aim
Yeah.
was okay. What happens if in a few years someone asks artificial intelligence, who is Paul McCartney? What he has done? So that was my reply to
Mm.
AI
Huh.
in a short piece, and the book is part of a bigger, project that says basically, okay, these are the facts. Well, I'm not the only one who is writing about Paul, but it's important to contribute to the facts
Mm.
with this kind of things. Book with a lot of facts, with a lot of quotes, sentences, sources, magic word, sauces, and that's my contribution.
Right.
Yeah, that's it.
Very good. Cool. Well, another day, right? The first single. There's a lot to discuss about this song, and the fact that it's got its roots into the Get Back sessions, right? January of '69.
Hmm.
We did hear a little snippet of it right during the Get Back documentary. If you have the bootleg, then you can find it. Luca, let's start there, and with another day. You've got written down in your book that you played it twice for the first time on piano in January 9th, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I think it's what I know so far, but it should be complete. He played. Paul played another day twice during the Get Back session. And
Right,
what was interesting is that the first time is on piano and the second is on guitar, which
right.
I'm not sure if he composed this on guitar. Probably he started on guitar and then he switched to the piano or something like that. And
Okay.
so it's interesting because it dates back to the Beatles days. That's the first thing that always fascinated me. I mean, when
Okay.
I can't remember which was the year, but I have bought this illegal, unfortunately, record, and there was this performance of Another Day, which is incomplete, but it's interesting to to hear a snippet of the song. We all know how it works with Paul and his compositions that they can take years to take shape, but it's very interesting to hear this part of the song. I think that it's a recent discover that it was partly composed for a movie, which
Yes.
this connects the Raging Moon exactly. Which
Yes.
I've never seen this movie, but I must admit that from what I've read, it's one of the saddest stories I've ever
It is.
imagined.
Really?
Well, yeah, it is. It is a sad film, and that's where, because we're reading about Another Day, is it does officially say what a so sad then another day, right? So that whole so sad section of the song, I think, really would have
Yeah.
fit uh, for the movie, which stars Malcolm McDowell of a Clockwork Orange fame. And yeah, it is a very sad film. But Brian Forbes asked Paul for a song. He did check it out on July 22nd, I think it was, in 1970, before he even recorded Another Day, and he deemed it unworthy. He thought that the cast, the two leads, were miscast. But looking back at it now, I mean, I'm a big fan of Malcolm McDowell, and I think he does a fine job in this film. But very sad, absolutely.
It's interesting. I didn't realize till reading the Legacy book that it was two songs. So sad and in
Yeah.
classic McCartney
Yeah.
fashion, he's got two songs
Right.
combined into one, and that was one of many revelations that we got out of the Legacy book, which I enjoyed.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. And which connects to another quote by Paul, which is in the lyrics book, because he mentioned Hitchcock and a cinematic quality about Another Day, which is definitely there. I mean, I think each one of us noticed that this song is really a series of scenes put together, which is very
Right.
cinematic.
Yeah,
Definitely.
he likens it to like almost like Eleanor Rigby in the lyrics book. Very,
Yeah.
and The Sound of Five, I didn't realize was a British television show either.
No, me neither. I mean, it's very hard to catch these things, especially in my case, if you are in Italy and you never heard about this. But So we have a lot of added information quite recently about this song, right?
Mm.
Which,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was even without knowing all these things, the song is. I think it's a very enjoyable song. It's a very
Oh, absolutely.
nice song, well built, and it has everything. But we will delve
Mm-hmm.
into it.
Yeah. So then in your book, we got recordings. 12th of October 1970 was the basic track. And then back, a couple months later in January of 71 for overdubs. Columbia Studios, New York, and then A&R Studios as well. So one of the great things about your book too is not only are you reading about the song, but you're also learning where it's being recorded, the dates, you got overdubs, you got who plays on them. And then also, if what's very important, if you're a beginner and you want to learn where to find these songs, Luca has this in his book where you can find the song. So you've got it on Wings Greatest, you got the song All the Best, Wingspan, Pure McCartney, and the singles box set. So Luca has taken care of all that for you, if you want to find the song. So
Yeah, that was not easy to do, but I think yeah, there's a lot of things, and then we all know that the McCartney discography it's a really big one,
right.
but I think it was good to have a try and present also
Yeah.
compilations and stuff about each track. Yeah, that was the first song recorded for the RAM,
Yeah.
so-called RAM sessions.
Yeah,
Right.
it's nestled in the Ram era, but it's we don't get it on Ram, so it's
No.
kind of that hodgepodge between McCartney and Ram, and you got Another Day, and it has that odd history to it. Like it's his first solo single, but it's in between two of his albums. Instead of
Mm.
coming out
Right.
with his own single off of his first album, it has this kind of orphan status as a non-album track. You know, but
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's his first single, and as we are going to discuss here, there's also B side here, which
Right.
is worth mentioning. But I
just
mean,
a
Yeah.
minute or
it's
two.
right, yeah, good way to start a solo career
Yeah.
with this kind of single.
Right. So you were able to talk to Sywell about the song.
Yeah, he just mentioned the fact that they just worked at top speed, and
Mm-hmm.
if I'm not wrong, he said something like they just went through the basic track in the morning, and so
Okay.
they just laid down the basic track during the morning. Um, yeah, I mean the great thing about Paul is that when he goes into the studio, with a few exceptions, he has a song already shaped in
Mm-hmm.
structure and chords and everything. Then musicians can contribute. But if you go into a studio without a proper structure of a song, and you just say, okay, it's just a rough idea, it doesn't
Right.
work. You waste a lot of hours of studio. Then it's better to having a song in a good shape, and then work on the
Mm-hmm.
arrangement and different solutions. But the song must be there already. Verses, chorus, bridge, all this stuff
Mm-hmm.
should be in place. Then you can change something, but the composer has to be clear ideas when he goes into the
Mm.
studio with his
Right.
songs, and that's
Right.
the magic of Paul, I
Right.
think.
I was amazed, reading that he would run through the song first with Spinoza here and Sywell before he even added vocals or even his bass. He would work with those two to get the backing track first. and then eventually with Hugh as well. So he would utilize their talents first before he would go back and add bass and vocals. So quite a
Yeah.
unique way to record this album that lasted seemed like it lasted forever. These
Mhm.
sessions.
Yeah, they lasted forever. Yeah,
Yeah.
there was quite a famous, quote by Spinoza about the fact that he didn't play bass along during the
Uh-huh.
basic track,
Mm.
which,
Yeah.
but it's typical of Paul. He plays rarely bass along with the basic track, except for the early Beatles. At some point,
Hmm.
he switched to the instrument on which he played, on which he composed the song, also for the recording mainly.
Mm.
So, yeah, I mean, it's a way of working, which absolutely makes sense. Then,
Right.
for maybe for a drummer, could be a little bit different, not having the bass part in place. But Paul
Right.
likes to, perfecting this parts afterwards. So
Right. You've got Spinoza quoted here as Paul asked me to play some chords in the straight eighth note feel, G to B7 to E minor, the opening chords of the song. I learned that he was looking for the feel that became another day. He just wanted to check out my ability to play the feel correctly, and that was during the I think for his audition.
yeah,
Um,
that was for during the auditions. That's another very curious thing. So
mhm.
Paul presented this chord
Right.
sequence to Spinoza, and there was a chord
Right.
sequence of another day. Yeah, definitely.
Mm. Right. So talk about he comes to America, right, with all of these songs. Right? We had the list, right? I mean, pretty much, I think it was like 25, 30 songs. He comes to America. So sad. Another day is one of them. The song itself. What do you think about it lyrically? I mean, it's. I think it's one of his better lyrics in his earlier career, solo career.
Yeah.
It's not just chorus, or I'm sorry, verse, chorus. I mean, it's structured more. I think more like a Beatles song
Hmm.
than what we've known to come from Paul during his solo career.
Well, there's a complete story. I mean,
Mm,
it's
right.
it's very clever. It's very
Hmm.
well built, and yeah, the lyrics are very good. I agree with
Hmm.
you. It's one of the best songs he ever composed, also on a
And,
lyrical
and
terms.
John
Right.
thought it was the only good thing that he did for a little while.
I had a
Yeah.
feeling that was going to come up. Yeah, I had a feeling that was going to come up. But yeah, I mean, like every day she takes a morning bath, she wets her hair, wraps a towel around her as she's heading for the bedroom chair. I do. I think it's a really good, laid out story, which I think he tried again, but didn't do as well with the song back in Brazil. I
Mm.
don't think, I like I like it musically, but I don't like it as much lyrically.
No, there's another song which I'd like to mention because it's
Yeah.
the most similar thing that he has done to another day, which will be in my volume two.
Mm,
And but since I have already written and published the volume two in Italian, I
mm,
went through this song, which is very recent, and it's another single, and it's called "In a Hurry." So if
mm.
you just
Yes.
go through this song, which is very nice, it's very similar
Right.
to Another Day. Also
Yeah.
in the chord sequence, there's a similarities. I have done a little bit of analysis about In a Hurry, and there's a similarity also in the first chords that he is using,
Mm,
which is interesting because I think In a Hurry is a very, very nice song. So
Oh,
that's a
Oh, great. Yeah.
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great analysis there. And you didn't have to use AI to do it. You did it yourself.
I did I did it myself, yeah. So
Oh
and
man.
just to stay on the topic of this recent song, what I have mm, felt, it seems to me a song, at least in part, which is could be connected to the musical for which Paul is composing or has composed tracks. Wonderful Life. I mean, the
Mm,
way the song is structured and arranged with a big uh, chorus of people, a lot of instruments and stuff, uh, to me tells something about the songs that uh, he is composing or he has composed for the musical. It has a certain quality that probably is to be connected to this project. Who knows? Let's see what comes out.
yeah. Hmm. I really enjoy Linda's backing vocals on this, especially during the "Stay, Don't Stand Her Up," and he comes and he stays, but he leaves the next day so sad.
Oh,
Sometimes you feel so sad. Linda really adds, some, more attraction to the song.
yeah, I mean, anyone who spoke badly about Linda's vocals should be listening to this song, for
Hmm.
example, or to
Right.
silly love songs. Just
Mm,
another one on the top of my mind. I mean,
right.
it's a lovely tone, and Paul was very clever in using this lovely tone within his songs. So I absolutely love Linda's contribution.
Yeah. Good
Definitely.
stuff. Right. Well, and then the involvement too in the songwriting credit. We'll get to that
Yeah.
aspect of the song in a minute. But you talk about the arrangement itself is rich and enhances the acoustic nature of the song. It features a bass part by McCartney full of melodic ideas. Hence the title of the music is ideas. Several electric guitar tracks by both Spinoza and McCartney. The song features Paul, Linda, harmony vocals introducing the couple's characteristic style. So this is really the early makings. Ram, the whole album is really the early makings of what Wings eventually will
Become.
become. Right, with the backing vocals with Paul, Linda here, and then eventually Denny Lane added to the mix.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's another thing that shows how clever Paul McCartney is in terms of musical arrangement. When it comes to backing vocals, that's another trademark
All right.
of Paul's through the years. Because if we listen to his albums, we got different styles of arranging backing vocals, very characteristic. So we got Ram and Another Day, which are you know on their own style. Then there's a Wings period, so roughly 10 years, and then we go into the 80s when he did his backing vocals with Linda and Eric Stewart, and that's another
Mm.
different style, but always so rich and so
Yeah.
elegant, so well executed. So it's a real feature, backing vocals. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's something I like very much.
And he must have felt a real connection with Linda with these backing vocals, because I feel since her passing, that is the one thing that's really lacking in his
Mm,
music since then is backing vocals. They're really backing vocals is really not there in his
mm,
music as much as it used to be, with Linda.
mm. Yeah, we got to consider obviously that there were a couple very tight to each other. So when you sing and you love someone, so
Right.
much. That's something that
Right.
comes out and adds depth, richness, and a lot of other things, because music is not only a perfect technical performance. Who cares
Mm,
if it's perfect? That's not the main thing. These backing vocals are are very good. Probably they are perfect also in technical terms, because we all know that Paul pushed Linda a lot
mm,
through the RAM
yeah.
period.
Yeah.
So they are
Right.
very nice, also in technical terms. But there's something that is not, explicable. We cannot really explain what's in with our words. There's something more
Right.
which is connected to the couple. Yeah.
Right. We should mention then now on the release of February 19th, 1971. This was also not only a big day for releases, but also a big day for Paul McCartney in general. You want to talk about that for a second, Luca?
Yeah, I mean, the thing of copyright issues and the Beatles lawsuit and stuff that are very
Right.
connected to the story of this track. That's why
Mhm.
in the book there's a quite an extensive introduction about what was
Right.
behind. So it's quite curious that um, the same. Yeah, exactly. I choose this
Mhm.
quite famous photo to be
Mhm.
in that chapter, because yeah, the very day was yeah, the first day of the Beatles
Right.
lawsuit. So
Yeah.
someone says it was not coincidental that the the single was released on that day. Who knows?
Right.
It's it's part
What do you feel,
of
Luca? Do you think it
it
was?
could be.
Yeah.
It could be. But
Mm,
we also have to consider that when it comes to release dates, there are a lot of aspects which you cannot control. So you cannot say maybe
mhm.
to a record company, well, let's choose this day or that. But it could be. I get a
Mm.
feeling it
Right.
could be.
Yeah.
So that was this thing in the background, and on the other another day itself,
Right.
generated another lawsuit, which is
Right.
quite, you know,
Right.
Right.
incredible. But
Right.
that's another aspect.
Right. So yeah, exactly. So you have it written here. It caused a flurry of excitement as the songwriting credit for Another Day was attributed to Mr. and Mrs. McCartney. A smart and fearful move immediately. Sir Lou Grade, owner of the ATV Music, who also held the publishing rights to Lennon McCartney songs, contested McCartney's statement, affirming it was only a clever gimmick to guarantee himself a half of the songwriting credit. I mean, sorry, income, as Linda wasn't part of Northern Songs. So yeah, I mean, it was a clever move for him to add Linda to that, because what? That's, I mean, that's a bigger piece of the pie that he's going to be receiving, right?
Right.
Yeah, but we have to say another thing. I mean, you can file a lawsuit to Paul because Linda was not in the part of the Norton songs, and that's
Right.
from that perspective uh, correct technically, but you cannot really argue with the fact that Linda had helped Paul composing the song, because that's the
Mm,
way pop music works. So
mm,
if you want to say, oh, it's not true, the first thing is you don't know. The second
right.
is, well, you don't have to be um, an accomplished musician to contribute writing a song or co-writing a song. You don't need to be a musician. You can only write part of the lyrics. All right,
Hmm.
you can
Hmm.
modify something. You can suggest a lot of things. So it's not something that you can prove it's not true, or you need to
Right.
prove in the case of Linda something. You don't need to be a
Mm,
musician, right? What do you think?
yeah.
I
Yeah.
agree. You
No,
can
yeah, I agree
you
too.
can you can be a song. Look at Elton John and Brian
Mel
Tapper.
Evans. Well, yeah, Mel Evans made suggestions, right, all the time, and he
Yeah.
didn't get any
No,
credit for it. um,
it's it's a curious
right.
song because it was a hit, right? But as you mentioned, we didn't hear it live for a long time.
Yeah.
It did not feature any Wings set lists or anything.
No, it was played first during the New War tour in
Yeah.
1993, which I remember it was not the best performance. I remember it was a little bit slightly, it was slightly, sometimes slightly out of tune. I can't remember, but yeah, I enjoyed the song, but they decided not to include it in the Paul is Live album.
Mm,
Clearly there was a reason for that. Maybe they
Yeah,
didn't want
right.
to add much in post production or overdubbing stuff. And then he played it again in 2014, I think. Well, I mean, it's a splendid song. Maybe works better in an intimate setting or something. Maybe not in a
Mm,
big
big
arena.
arena.
Who knows?
right.
Because if it's Paul on his own, like in the case of Here Today or this kind of things, then it works better. This kind of song has got, as we said, many guitar parts. You need a certain bass part along with all the rest. So it's not easy to perform the song.
Right. It was definitely a highlight for me when I saw that, because I got to see one of the shows during that tour, and that was
Mhm.
definitely a highlight. Seeing them do Another Day. Another interesting thing going back to the whole lawsuit over the song says years later, ATV music chief Jeffrey Heath would admit when Paul and Linda started to write together, it diluted the value of the publishing to us. It was a piece of genius because although we all challenged it, it could never be disproved. So suddenly, Paul's songwriting partner was Linda, and then John and Yoko started writing together. So, it was pretty
That's
interesting there.
that's natural intelligence.
Right. Yeah.
that's uh, that's another that's another example. I mean, and I'm
Yeah.
not saying it was
Right.
not true, because I'm 100% sure from what I feel, obviously, that
Right.
Linda contributed to this song.
Right.
Absolutely. So that is a perfect sum of Paul's move. That's
Hmm.
it.
Right. Right. So yeah, it is pretty amazing when you think about Linda. Then I mean, she's part of the songwriting credits all the way up into Venus and Mars, I believe, right?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah,
So
75 or 76. See,
76, yeah.
she was always in the
All in Linda
songwriting
McCartney.
team.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. That was
Yeah.
part of the
So,
agreement with ATV
right.
in
Right.
72.
Right. So that lawsuit then with Lou Gray, that was a lot of people thought that it
Yeah.
ended with the agreement of Paul doing the James Paul McCartney special. Well, that's not really true.
Not
It
true
it
now.
ended with him re-signing up until I think 1979, and signing a new contract up until 79, I believe it was, like,
Hmm.
Yes.
or 77, something like that. So,
I think it was through
but
79.
yeah, yeah, interesting how all these things work. So, anything else you want to mention about Another Day, Andy or Luca?
Please
I
end it.
I've always enjoyed the track. Again, it's always kind of held. It's I've always kind of viewed it as that as a lost track because when you go through all the how yeah, it's a hit, but you kind of just forget it because you're on Ram, you're on Red Rose Speedway, and it's nice to come back to it and think that hey, that's the actual his own first single, and you know, of course it's on the compilations, but I've always
Right.
felt that it's like the orphan single. for
Hmm,
a lot of reasons. You know, even though it's
interesting.
a fantastic track, but I
Right.
don't know if it would have. I mean, it could have fit on Ram. Where I don't know, but I think it certainly would have. It could have fit on that album easily. Do you agree, Luca?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I don't know in which spot. It's difficult to imagine. Maybe taking out one song and putting in another day, but definitely the quality
Right.
is there. So another couple of things that I like to mention about the track is that it was number 5 in the
Uh-huh.
US and number 2 in the UK, and it sold quite a incredible number of copies in Japan.
Hmm.
Hmm.
But there's no certification about US sales for another day. There's nothing officially issued.
Hmm.
So there's a gold record or platinum or anything, which is it's a shame. We don't know exactly the sales of this single, which I suspect were very high because at the time,
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you're talking like a number 5 hit, I mean, it has to be at least gold.
yeah,
And you know, I mean, yeah, you're right about the IRAA certification. I mean, it's weird that you don't see anything where it says if it's gold or platinum or
Mm.
not, because those are the kind of things that record companies and artists want out, right? They want people to see, hey, this sold 500 copies, 500,000 copies. It sold 1 million copies,
yeah,
right?
Right.
yeah. So probably it was probably worldwide. It could have been a
Yeah,
single of about 2 million copies or something. Who knows? But
right,
I think
right,
it's it's something um, that this kind of song in that moment could have
right.
done. And well, another little thing that's a more personal, and maybe you can add your memories. So just a personal memory about another day. Just if you ask me, have you got a which is the first memory that you connect to the song?
Yeah,
And so you can go on and tell me yours, and then I tell you
yeah.
my memory about it.
Mine was, well, I think it was when All the Best came out. I was just becoming a big solo McCartney fan after listening to nonstop Beatles for a couple years. So it was that's when I discovered the song. I thought it was beautiful. It was catchy right off the bat, and it took me a long time to really appreciate the lyrics, right? Because you want to, as a boy, you want more macho kind of songs. It's not really a macho, you know, a macho song at all. As he's singing about a woman, but still, musically I caught on to it, right away. I loved the chorus of it, so I think it's a lovely song, and it's one of my favorites, for
I
sure.
same thing. All the Best was my introduction to Another Day. Remember on the cassette actually in the late '80s. Now on CD. Remember, the CDs were a lot of money back then for a kid, so cassettes were a
Right.
little cheaper. I got that,
Right.
and I remember listening to it on the cassette, and not knowing the context from which it came from.
Mm,
Got to, we got decades of behind us of knowledge and everything, but as a kid, you're just listening to a track.
yeah.
You don't know, and it's on a compilation, so you don't know, is it an early hit? You listen to it for a song, and that I remember liking it instantly from then.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. There was no background at that time. Well,
Mm.
in my case, 1985 for me was the year where I have bought a lot of McCartney records, and I well
Mm.
remember that around February, I bought on the very same day on a Saturday, I bought London Town and Wings
Oh.
Greatest, and Wings
Ah.
Greatest featured Another Day,
Yeah.
and then
Wings.
around May, I have bought again on the very same day Red Rose Speedway and Ram, and so one of
Ah.
my favorite pastimes when I was 15, 16 was to do this cassettes or mixtapes. I don't know which is the right
Mm.
word for it. when I put together a lot of songs which I discovered. So there was a lot to, to digest and to delve in with these four albums.
Right.
And so I remember I put together a cassette in early May 1985, and my first thing was to bring this cassette to my father and listening to it in the car with him,
Mm.
just to have him, his impression, and I was very nice when he said, "Oh, I like this song," or it was I was in a deluded when he said, "Oh, I don't like this. Can you just skip the song because I don't
Right.
like it?" And that another day was featured in this cassette. So if you ask me a memory, this definitely that spring of 1985 in the car with my
Right.
father.
Cool.
No, it's funny because I would make mixtapes too, and I did the same thing. As like had all the best on cassette, and I had the Flowers in the Dirt on cassette. So I wanted to have like a complete, I wanted the songs that I really really liked on Flowers in the Dirt added mixed in with all the best stuff.
uh,
So I had the dual cassette player, so
so,
I put the one in, exactly, and it's just made my new greatest hits because I mean My Brave Face, I mean, come on, was not
Instant.
necessarily a big, yeah, I mean it was
But
an
for
instant
you,
hit for us.
yeah,
Right,
go
for
ahead for
us,
us.
but chart wise it didn't do as well as in the States as I think as it did better in the UK at the time.
it,
But yeah, I mean I have fond memories of making mixtapes. Yeah.
my Breface did very well in Italy. I think it was number
Yeah.
two or something, and it was all over the
Mm,
place. Yeah, so
yeah.
that's this thing with songs and music that you can really, remember a certain feeling or even a certain perfume or something in the air
Right.
when you hear a track after 30 years.
Right. All right, so let's flip this single over
Flip it over to the B
and
side, shall we?
flip it over to the B side, and then that's one of the great things about this Italian 45 because when you flip it over, then it has "Oh Woman, Oh Why" on the
No.
on the back of it as well. Listen, the Italians did great picture sleeves, Luca. I mean, some of my favorite
The
45s
Italians do everything right,
from the
don't they?
70s.
Okay, so you
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 know,
are you are telling me to collect the Italian ones because
yes,
I
the
don't really
Italian
know
45s.
which version of this single
I'll
of the
send you
singles
some
I have.
pictures. I'll
But anyway,
send you
this
some
is
pictures.
the back
Mm.
cover of the
Yeah,
French
yeah, that's
one.
the French one, right? Yep. Yeah, they were a lot different. I mean, listen, the Europeans, not just Italians, but Europeans really did some cool picture sleeves for 45s, especially during the 70s, because a lot of, I mean, sometimes they would use the same image like this. This is the same image on like five or six European 45s. It's just placed differently, the placement, or if it's just black and white, or I mean, there's some really good 45s for another day. But Omen Y was quite different.
Oh,
Especially from the A side. But and it features really powerful vocal from Paul as well, don't you think, Luca?
Yeah, it's powerful and original because
Mm,
it's not a tone that he uses very often. But I mean, who can do these things?
mm,
Another day on one side, and then you flip, and on the other side, there's this thing that could be anyone. I mean, if you have another, if you have a friend of yours listening to this track, and who can guess is Paul McCartney? Because we we all know that he's capable to do this kind of things, but it's to,
right,
to the opposite extreme. I mean, it's it's another story. It's a fantasy story, or
right.
I think inspired to a certain blues tradition, and I mean it's exact opposite.
Right.
There's a woman and a man involved in
Right.
this kind of story, and well, crazy, but incredible song.
Yeah, I mean, this seems like if this was turned into a movie, it would be a crazy ride. It could be like a Quentin Tarantino movie, maybe.
Mm,
Um, but um, but I love the opening. Oh woman, oh why. I mean, it's so scream like, and then he brings it down to almost like a bass part. That only McCartney can really do. Start off to a scream and then bring it down to to a heavy bass. It's pretty amazing. But you think about being in the studio, and you really don't necessarily always think of an artist bringing a gun into the
Huh.
studio. you know um
No, but a producer
so
did a couple of years later.
yeah, yeah.
Wacko
Yeah,
Phil.
you're talking about Phil Spector, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, but this wasn't the first time. I mean, because then during Karina Core, earlier, he brings a bow and arrow, into the studio as well. So, him using
mm.
props is not a a strange thing.
No, it's another real feature of Paul, using objects and a lot of strange stuff into the studio, and is capable to use this within a context of a song
Hmm.
perfectly.
Right.
It's not something that sounds out of place. I mean,
Hmm.
then it could be really a nuance. Maybe you have to put your best headphones to hear what's really behind.
Right.
It's not the case of a woman or why, because we can definitely hear the gunshots here.
Right.
We can, but in the
Yeah,
case
you
of the
can.
bow and arrow, it's
Yeah.
really something that you
It's really
have to
faint.
pay
Yeah.
attention.
Attention to. Right. You start off with talking about "Oh Woman, Oh Why" and comparing it to that June 14th, 1965 session where Paul recorded "I'm Down" and then "I've Just Seen a Face in Yesterday." Yeah, I guess
Yeah,
you could probably compare that to the single, right, in tone of
yeah.
vocals, on both sides.
Yeah, I mean that's another thing that is really unparalleled. So
Mm.
again, who can go from "I've Just Seen a Face"
Right.
to "I'm Down" and then "Yesterday" and sing at ease all these songs? It's really not common, and so if you listen to "Another Day" and then "A Woman in White," one of the first things that came to my mind is that, okay, it's it's doing it again. I mean, it's not the same
Right.
session, obviously, but you got this two completely different styles put on the same single,
Yeah.
and that's incredible. This is a song I would like to do statistics one day, and I will do it um, maybe in the next weeks, because this song starts with drums.
Yep.
Yeah.
So how many songs in Paul's career start with drums? That would be nice as a statistic,
You know,
just
our
just for
our
fun.
Right.
friend Dylan Seavey probably crunched those numbers and probably has that data. If I had to guess, wouldn't you think?
Possibly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's possible. It's possible. He
That,
is a
that's
numbers
that's
guy.
another that's another interesting thing, because when it
Yeah.
comes to arranging songs, it's not common to start a song with the drums. So
Right.
I
It's
mean,
also interesting. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Luca.
yeah, yeah,
How the both songs are totally different. Another Day starts right out of the gate, brisk
yeah,
speed, tempo. Another Day really totally different, slow drum into just a total. They're not the same at all. They're totally two different moods on the A and the B side,
yeah,
contrasting
yeah,
and
definitely.
darker. One's sunny and pleasant. One's really
Yeah.
dark.
Right.
Definitely.
I think it would have been cool if like Linda did, sang the second kind of verse on this one, because it is a kind of like a guy story and a
Mm.
the girl story. Like, well, I'm fed up with your lying, cheating ways. That kind of would have been cool if that was like their first duet in a way.
Mhm, mhm.
On this song. I think it would have fit uh that, but
There's something I like to ask you because
mhm,
I have read somewhere, or maybe there was a friend of mine who told me that uh, which kind of accent Paul is using
mm,
singing this song, because it was really impossible for me to just understand the lyrics of this song. If I, it's really hard. It probably uses a special kind of accent, which I don't know if it's an
mm,
American accent, if
I,
it's anything, I don't know. But
I
that's
think I think it's
something.
slightly pro. Has a little bit more of an American accent on
Hmm.
this track.
yeah,
I think it's more American.
Yeah.
yeah.
Obviously,
And plus
it's
the
in
way he
America.
scream, yeah. Plus the way he screams on it too. While he's singing, it is kind of sometimes hard to understand if you're not reading the lyrics while you're listening to the song. It is kind of hard to understand what he's saying.
Yeah. Other than
Yeah.
a woman know why.
Yeah. I don't know why.
What
Yeah.
have you done? Where'd
Yeah.
you get that gun? And
That
then when it
gun.
starts to
Yeah.
other, I can't get by. My hands are tied. And
Your
then
hands
you're
are
like,
tied.
what?
Yeah.
What's he saying?
Wait.
What's he saying there?
Right.
I don't know what he's
Okay.
saying, but it sounds damn good. I don't know what doesn't
Right.
can't comprehend lyrically what's going on in that little bit there, but damn, it's good.
Mm.
Yeah. So I mean, that makes me in a more comfortable position, because if you say you miss some words, then
Yeah.
um,
Mm.
okay, I'm
Yeah.
okay.
Listen, Luke, if you don't can't figure those what that is, nobody else can. So
That's
All
good.
right. All right.
Sywell here. The drum sound was amazing. One of the best. Talking about the drums, we got from CBS Studio. We covered the drums with tea towels, like Ringo did,
Yeah.
notably during the sessions. Yeah. So Denny talks highly of this song. He's but this one is, again, I don't think this necessarily would have fit on Ram either. Maybe Another Day, like you guys said, would fit, but I don't think this one would really fit the album. Do you think so, Luca, or do you think it might have fit?
I don't know. It's maybe well, the kind of song that could come to my mind, which is has a certain similarity. Let me say, could be,
Mm,
well, Monkberry Moon Delight, in terms of
mm,
maybe the
yeah,
the
vocals,
yeah,
vocal
vocals.
vocals,
style,
yeah, yeah,
or kind of more aggressive songs like
mm,
Smile Away,
Yep.
something like that.
mm,
Um, yeah, this is uh, has a drier production, drier
mm,
style compared to other Ram songs. So I mean, I'm
right.
a big fan of this session. So for me, it could have done a triple album, and
Huh.
no, no problem. I mean,
Yeah.
this is a
Um,
very nice material.
Luca,
Mm.
when did you first hear the B side, "A Woman, Oh Why"? Was it in that same period, like 84, 85, or was it later?
I have bought well, probably it was in 1987 when it was released on the Wildlife CD, the first version of the
Right.
Wildlife CD.
Which is this one here, the very
Yeah,
first Wildlife on CD.
exactly.
80. This is the
Okay,
87 issue, and
Yeah,
yeah, this
right.
would have been this is when you first heard it on for the
yeah,
first time. It was on the first one. Yeah,
yeah. So
interesting.
there was a couple of years later, with respect to Another Day. Yeah,
Mm,
there was obviously, well, I always loved CDs, and so they when they came out, I bought everything. Well, immediately. It depended on my finances, but anyway,
mm.
Yeah,
uh,
right.
I
Right.
bought them all, and
Mm,
obviously, one of the best things was all these B-sides and songs that I've never heard before.
Right.
That wasn't that such a thrill when you got the CD to hear these songs you never heard before at all.
Yeah.
You had no other way to really get them, but now they were on CD, and your like mind
Yeah.
was blown hearing stuff like
Yeah.
"A Woman, Oh Why" and "Little Woman." I mean, well, obviously this one is kind of poorly sequenced because you've got "A Woman, Oh Why" on this, and "Mary Had a Little Lamb." So it
Yeah.
was always for
Really?
wild, yeah, for the bonus tracks.
Surprised, yeah, surprised that wasn't on the Ram version because I believe the first time I would have heard it was the '93 Paul McCartney collection series.
Well, the first issue of Ram on CD has no bonus
Yeah.
tracks,
No.
as you recall, Luca.
No
It
bonus
was
tracks.
It
Yeah,
was just
exactly.
a regular album, so it was weird
Mhm.
for how they stockpiled these B-sides and so forth. You know.
Right.
Yeah, it was a thrill to have his catalog on CDs. Yes, I mean I have all the money could not stay in my pocket because of this things, you know. And they were not cheap. They were not cheap at
No.
the
Right.
time.
No.
So I mean, just to give you a rough idea, the cost of a CD at the time, I mean, mid 80s,
80s, yeah.
it was
Yeah.
the half of what my parents gave me as a weekly pay. So
Wow.
the
Okay.
half was the cost of a CD. So if I wanted to have something left for
Right.
going out with my friends, I couldn't buy 2 CDs because it was no money
No.
left
It was,
in 1 week.
yeah. It's impossible to think about now and everything in a digital world, but you bought
Right.
these things and treasured them because it was the only way you had to put the CD on. It was it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then when they released in 1993, there was always someone who told me, "But you got it already," which is
Yeah.
a stupid question. But anyway.
Well, yeah, exactly. You do have it already, but you don't have that version because there's other
Yeah.
tracks on it.
Exactly. Right. Exactly.
That's something
Speaking of have it already.
nobody else
Right.
understands that except us crazy fans.
Yeah. Well,
can't tell you how
collectors
many
in general.
Family members will say, "Well, why do you have the 3 Rams or whatever?" Like, isn't the same thing? No, it's just you don't even bother explaining it. You just can't.
You know.
Well, I must tell you that quickly that well, I bought Ram on this early May '85, and it immediately was one of my favorite things by Paul. And then the year after, I bought it on cassette. Don't ask me
Yeah.
why, but I bought it on cassette just because I wanted to experience the thrill of having Ram
Right.
in another format. You know.
Going back to that and popping it in, what did you think he was saying to start the album? Were you thinking he was saying piece of cake or piss off cake? I mean, what did you think he was saying at the beginning of Too Many People?
No, I think he's saying piece of cake because it's
Okay.
part of the lyrics. Then, if you
Yeah.
pronounce it in a certain way, he was aware probably that it could have been, interpreted slightly differently.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not
Right.
English mother tongue, so I don't really know how this similarity goes further. I don't really know if it's possible to misunderstand piece
Right.
of cake into
Mm.
piss off. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know. But to my ears, when I didn't have any background about it, I have always thought about piece of cake because these words were part of the lyrics of the song. So for me, there was
Right.
no doubt. But you can
Right.
tell me better. What do you think about it?
I think it's piss
it,
off, personally.
yeah. So I mean, again, it's when you read anything about these songs, you got to take it with a grain of salt because we weren't there. I guess we don't know what his intention was unless he puts it he writes it down himself. I mean, it's tough sometimes really to believe something like that. You're hearing what you think is right is piece of cake, right? And then here's then somebody else is telling you no, he's not saying that. So I don't know. I've always thought it was piece of cake myself. So.
But I mean, we all have too many information or
Right,
biases at
right,
this point, so you
right,
cannot really be
right,
objective. So I can tell you at that time, and I
right,
didn't know basically anything about it. I have
right.
interpreted as piece of cake,
Yeah,
which
right,
to some extent is maybe sarcastic as well, because we all
right.
know that was a photo of a piece of cake
Yeah.
in a Jones
Joe, yeah,
records.
exactly.
Yeah,
The
so
wedding album, right? Yeah.
even in this case, maybe it means
Yeah,
something.
that's a good point. That's a really good point. I'm going to show a couple of my favorite Another Day 45 picture sleeves real quick. And it's interesting that they use what the images that they use, that's the time period. So you've got this is Spain. Obviously, that's a Let It Be, right?
Yeah.
Picture, and then we got Portugal, which again uses
Okay.
an image from Let It Be as well. So, um, you
They
know,
got the era right. That's when the germ of the song came about. So,
right.
uh,
Well, yeah, good point there. Good point there.
I
But
like
they might.
Oh, go ahead, Tom. Keep
Yeah.
showing. I just
No,
wanted
no,
to
no,
talk
no,
about a
no.
lyric
Go ahead. Go,
quote
go.
that Luca has from our friend Chris Welsh,
Mm.
who we just had on a few episodes ago.
Hmm.
Yes, yes,
Hmm.
that's right. Good. Yep.
You quoted Chris Welch's metal review, saying, "Once in a while, a Beatle emerges with a beauty. Lonely, sad women are making absorbing subjects, and Paul follows in his tradition of Eleanor Rigby and Co. with another documentary about a girl slipping into stockings and heading for the office where it's hard to stay awake. The accompaniment is novel and inventive, and Paul sings in knowing fashion." So that was Chris Welch's original
Yeah.
review. So that was
Yeah. Yeah.
he was a fan.
Yeah.
Yes, he was. Yeah. Yeah, so this was good fun. Luca, let's we had a good time on Ken Michael's radio
Yeah.
YouTube channel not too long ago, talking about just Paul McCartney in general and what we wish for his career.
Okay.
um let's just maybe extend on that.
Hmm.
Was there any other thoughts or opinions you have about McCartney? I mean, obviously you're writing you're taking the time out of your life, right, to write about McCartney. And you're talking years, right? I mean, there's got to be a lot of love, a lot of respect. What are you finding out as you're writing these books? I mean, what are you finding or learning the most about Paul here?
Uh, are you talking in general or
Yeah, in general.
specific?
Yeah, in general. In
But
general.
about
Yeah,
him or about his music?
about him. About him.
It's a tough question, Tom, because I think, and this is a perspective, well, of a fan, obviously, but as we all are. But I think that when I write or discover things, and when I write about these songs, about his writing methods, all that comes in a book like mine. Uh, well, I think that Paul McCartney is a model. I mean, in many aspects, because it shows you the path for doing things. That's what I always bring with me, even when I write and when I discover things and when I put all these things together. I see his fantasy, his way of getting straight until something is done, is finished, which is not that easy, because we all have
Right.
experienced the struggle of finishing something.
Mm,
Well, for him, is songs, or it could be a painting, or anything related to art. But it's is a man, so is capable, and he has proved that he's capable to complete all of his tasks, also in his daily life, in his
Mhm.
personal life, and that's for me one of the things that I learn and relearn from Paul McCartney, or about Paul McCartney, that has a certain impact on me, and I think on all of his fans, because it's a model. That's it.
Mhm.
So to put it straight, Tom, that's what I really feel inside when I write these things, when I put together information. But there's a creative process behind it, which
Mhm.
I was talking with a friend of mine a couple of days ago, and even though I'm not a musician, but I play. I can put my hands on a couple of instruments, and what Paul and the Beatles show to me is that, well, try to be original, and that's what I have done. I always try to write my own stuff,
Mm.
and without the example of Paul and the
Mhm.
Beatles, I wouldn't have even tried to do this. Even though I'm not technically that good, but I like to do my own things, and that's magic, guys. That's
Right.
magic. There's a
It is.
is a direct impact. Is a positive impact on people. That's it.
Mhm. Hmm. Yeah, well said. Well said. Absolutely. He is the blueprint. I would imagine. I mean,
Yes, he
if
is.
you're if you're an aspiring musician, artist, songwriter, I mean, look no further than for inspiration than Paul McCartney. It's just marvels at what he's able to produce with every release, and it feels like it's something different with every release, right? I mean, it might be kind of like the same structure or same patterns or whatnot, but he brings something different to the table. It seems like every time with every new album, and I really hope that he um, continues creating, and I'll continue being greedy and want more. But we know
Yes,
that
we will.
unfortunately that time will come where you know, we won't get any new music from Paul, and that'll be a sad day. But he doesn't seem like he wants to stop anytime soon, though.
No, but
Don't you
the
think,
what the
Andy?
I agree that he's not. I don't think he's going to stop anytime soon. But the body of
Right,
work that he has produced in 53 years,
right,
people after he has gone are going to be like, "Holy crap, this guy
Mm,
was really
right,
good." They're going to go.
yeah.
They
yeah,
may discover it in 10 years or in 20 years, and they're going to go, "Wow, I didn't even realize that he did this." And because so many people just view Paul McCartney in a Beatles schism, in a Beatles frame of view, and I've gone to conventions, I've seen people. They're mostly Beatles fans. Yeah, you've got your hardcore
right,
solo fans, but if people actually once they if they're inclined to, study Paul McCartney a little bit more deeply, they're going to
Yeah.
be their minds are going to be blown when they realize the embarrassment of riches that this man has given
hmm,
to the world.
right,
Yeah, absolutely. And Tom, just to add a little piece, when we talk about what we would like to see
mm,
in the future from Paul, well, I just chosen one thing, but I
right,
I agree with you. I mean, everything he comes up with, I'm fine. I mean, new album,
mm,
I mean,
Anything.
wonderful life. I mean,
right.
but we will see a lot of things coming from him. I
I
think
think
he
so.
has
Yeah.
got a number of projects that is working, or he has worked on. So the difficult thing is that he's got too many things, and
Right,
so it's difficult to, even for MPL, or for anyone, to
right,
just find the right spot, because
right,
there's a books, there's a lot of things that are
right,
related to his legacy. So
right,
it's hard to choose the right moment. I think we will see a new album
right.
quite soon, and I hope, and I'm sure it will be another thing that we will say, all right, come on, how is possible that is so original?
I
Right,
hope I hope
right.
Luca. I so hope you are right, my friend. I really
Yeah,
hope so.
yeah.
He
Well, then
won't he
that's
won't
that.
stop. He won't stop.
yeah, he won't stop. But it's interesting though, is that as we were talking about the last Beatles single here, as well with Ken, and the fact that this is going to be huge, right? I mean, so with the anthology in '95, Capitol didn't want him to release anything,
No.
right? No, so that's why I'm thinking we're not going to get much. They might even push the Band on the Run 50th, half speed master to probably early next year, just so
Could be.
depending on when this is released, just so that this new Beatles single can get the
And
attention
and is it coming
that
out
it
just as a
deserves.
single? Is it getting
Yeah,
packaged with
right,
something? Is it
right,
And I didn't join. Couldn't join you all the other night when you had
right.
that nice
Yeah,
discussion. But I'm sure I think
right.
somebody brought it up that I think might have been Ken Michaels that
Yeah,
if it's the anthologies upgraded with some new stuff, maybe that is that the release and they're just going to put now and then with it. I don't know, but we'll see. Something's coming, as Leonard Bernstein
yeah,
wrote.
Yeah,
yeah.
something's coming. I don't know if this will prevent any releases in the immediate future by Paul, but it could be a nice marketing vehicle for Band on the
Right,
Run or for
right,
some other solo stuff.
right,
It depends how they want to market it.
right.
I don't know. I mean, it's too early to say. Digital single seems unlikely to me, but
Mm,
who knows? And then we got to understand which is the song, because I think we have talked about Now and Then, but I don't think Paul mentioned the title
Hmm.
no.
of this
No,
thing
he didn't.
during this
No,
his interview, and
right,
so, well, it's probably it would be Now and Then, but
right.
let's see.
Well, the thing is, somebody actually tweeted Sean Lennon and said that, have you
Yes.
Yeah,
heard about this? I mean, are you okay with this? And then, Sean actually replied and saying all we did was is that we extracted the vocal from the tape. It
yeah,
didn't use AI to enhance
No.
the vocal in any
no.
way. So I mean, people, you
Well,
need to research. You need to,
It's Luca.
uh,
It's like you said on that show the other night.
yeah,
Good. He is a master at the marketing and
yeah.
getting people to,
right,
because it is a hot topic. You pointed that out
right,
well on that show.
That's one thing, but on the other side, we got to tell that artificial intelligence could could be a lot of things. So not only
mm-hmm,
one thing, but these days people are identifying AI with this kind of operations
right,
where you say, okay, can I have this McCartney song sung with the voice of John Lennon? That's
right,
what people think it's AI. I mean, probably, and I'm not really
mm,
sure, AI means also other things,
Mm.
including
right,
this one. I don't know if it's
right,
AI, if it's a right term or not. So, but for people, I think generally speaking, it's difficult to understand when something like AI has got a number of applications, a number of uses. So it's better and it's easier to say, okay, AI is this thing, this specific thing. So who knows? But then, I mean, you can definitely use the word AI just
right.
just to have a just
A
to have
little.
more hype.
Yep. Me.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, very
Let's see.
interesting. Yeah, I can't wait. I kind of wish that he didn't say anything. I would have liked to have been surprised maybe a little bit later on down the line, but we're all excited for this. Obviously the speculation now is going to be, what does it sound like? I mean, well, who produced it? I mean, did they bring Jeff Lynne back? I mean, or is it Giles Martin, or is this Paul McCartney? So it's going to be interesting to see, like Andy said, how are they going to market it? How are they going to present it? Is it going to be part of another anthology or whatnot? So it's going to be interesting to see. how this is released. So the question is for you, everybody listening or watching in the comment section. Like Luca asked us earlier in the show. How did we first discover Another Day? Let us know in the comment section. When did you? Are you a first generation McCartney fan and you got to listen to it at first hand, or did you just discover it later on in the coming decades with Wings Greatest or All the Best or Pure McCartney? Let us know in the comics section when you first discovered Another Day, and give us your thoughts on the song. Is it a favorite, or is it one that you don't really care about? So, but Luca, your book, Music is Ideas, Story Behind the Songs, is out now. It's Amazon. It's wherever you want to find it. But give us an update on Volume 2, right? Because Volume 2 is going to be 90 all the way up to what?
That depends on Paul. So, I mean, if we have something new
Right,
or
right,
an album, it won't be good to leave it
right,
out. So I
right.
think, well, at the moment the plan is mid 2024,
Okay.
which could be good for having also another new release in the meantime by him, I think. So
Mhm.
that will be covering everything until the last release. Who knows when it will be and which will be. So basically, I did a lot of work already, but the tweaking of the book,
Mm.
it's time consuming. So I think it's safe to say that I will need at least 1 year for volume 2. Yeah.
Right. One more question. 70s and 80s, they were full of riches of unreleased tracks.
Yeah.
How are the 90s and the 2000s with unreleased tracks? Are
Uh,
they as fruitful as the 70s and 80s?
no, I think there's not much so far. I think I have put together something like 25 tracks, unreleased
Okay.
tracks, which makes
Okay.
sense to have in a book or talking a bit
Hmm.
about them. The 70s and the 80s were definitely richer in terms of
Mm.
what we know it's unreleased. Then there's a
Right.
sea of other things that we don't know about. I'm
Right.
sure in the
Right.
vaults. Uh,
Yes, in the vaults.
sure.
If we can only get our hands on those vaults, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Uh, Luca, you're pretty much on with social media. You're pretty much just on Twitter. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah,
And you want to tell
Twitter
people
is
how they can follow you? Yeah.
the main channel I'm using, but I'm also on Instagram and Pinterest and Facebook, and I got a
Okay.
website. So there's a lot of ways to find me.
Okay. Very, very good. Andy, anything coming up with you on your channel there, buddy?
Maybe some reviews of some recent concerts. Maybe I did last
Okay.
night. No, I'm still recovering from it. I saw the Musical Box do the entire of The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway here.
Hmm.
Actually on
Okay.
Broadway for the last time. They're not playing it anymore. So
Oh
I
wow.
might do a
Okay.
review of that concert,
Mm.
which was an incredible show. They actually used the original slides that Genesis had
Oh,
uh,
really?
during the tour, and they were
Okay.
they were given the blessing by Genesis management and Peter Gabriel and the licensing to use those images. So
Wow.
I might
Very
do a
cool.
review of that show with a buddy of mine who I went with, which was pretty cool.
Excellent. Amazing. And then yeah, please check out my movie channel, Tom's Movie Channel. I've been trying to get as many videos up as I can, but as life goes, sometimes you're busy doing other things. But talk more talk. That'll be and when this is posted, we will have James and Tom Liberoni talking about their experience with the Paul McCartney Conan O'Brien interview that happened last week. So check that out. Talk More Talk, a Solo Beatles videocast. Check out the YouTube channel and please subscribe. Luke, my friend, it's always great to hang out with you and just pick your brain with all the knowledge that you have up there and talking about your new book, Music as Ideas. It's always great to spend some time with you, and especially on Paul's birthday, right? So this is the 81st birthday of Paul McCartney. Just amazing that he's still with us and creating new music.
Yeah, thanks to you guys. I've been with you a number of times during this month, so thanks, because I went through a difficult period in my personal life, and that helped. The book helped. Being with you helped a lot. So thanks again, and happy birthday, and thanks to Paul.
Thank you
as well.
There you go. Yes, thank you, and happy birthday. We hope you have a wonderful day, which is by now it's probably, if he's in the UK right now, it's it's I'm sure he's celebrating as
and
we
Father.
speak.
Well, he just posted on the social media, "Happy Father's Day to all the dads in the world, including me." He just posted this picture of himself.
Okay.
Oh, very cool. All right, excellent.
Okay,
so
very nice.
Very cool. Very cool.
Nice to see our kid happy and doing well.
Right. Luca, you are welcomed anytime. If you feel like you want to, chat and you have something you want to talk about, please, feel free to get a hold of us, and we'll send out a link, and we'll hit that record button, and we'll have some more fun.
Until someone says that's enough, I will be pleased to be.
Not here. Not anybody on this channel.
I won't be here. It won't be here. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're awesome. Can keep on doing the great work. And for Two Legs, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at Two Legs Podcast. Please check out and please subscribe to the YouTube channel, Two Legs, a Paul McCartney podcast. Email us at twolegspodcast@gmail.com if you have an idea for a show. If you think we should try to, get a guest or something like that, we would love to hear from you, whether you like the show or you don't like the show. Just, reach us out and say hi. And we'd appreciate hearing from you. So for Luca Perasi, Andy Nichols, I'm Tom Hunyadi. As always, have a great day and a beautiful night, everyone. Take care.
Listening to Two Legs, a Paul McCartney podcast, hosted by Tom Hunyadi and Andy Nichols, with musical contributions by Dylan